Sebring, Florida, March 1965. The 15th running of the Sebring 12-hour Grand Prix of Endurance. 12 grueling hours at speed over a 5.2-mile airport runway and blacktop road course. The stakes are high. World Championship points, prize money, the prestige of a Sebring victory, and the world's best are here to win. .120-mile-an-hour MGs and Austin Healey Sprites. 150-mile-an-hour Alfa Romeo GTZs and Porsche 904s. 170-mile-an-hour Ferraris. Ford GTs. .180-mile-an-hour sports racers like the Chaparrals. First time this class has been allowed in recent years. Sebring is the ultimate test. Sebring demands engineering perfection, consummate skill, unlimited stamina, and courage. Sebring is, for all, the 12-hour grind. The 12 hours of Sebring culminate a week of inspection, practice, adjustments. The same concentration and expertise are evident in the drivers of the smaller, lighter cars as in the 180-mile-an-hour speedsters, and they're just as determined to win. Sebring gives them that chance. National Speed Sports News Editor Chris Economaki has the details.
There are three types of cars in the Sebring race. Grand Touring cars or GTs, GT Prototype, and sports racing. Sebring is primarily for GT cars. For 44 of the 70 entrants are in this category, divided into 3 international divisions according to engine size. The divisions are further subdivided into international classes, each with its own trophy and cash purse. Here are the cars. Grand Touring Division 1, approximately 100 horsepower. Speeds up to 125 miles an hour. Cars such as the Triumph Spitfire, the redoubtable MG Midget. Grand Touring Division 2, up to 200 horsepower. Speeds of 145 miles an hour. The Porsche 904, the spirited Alfa Romeo GTZ, and the stoic Volvo P1800. Grand Touring Division 3, the Big Iron, cars of unlimited horsepower. On the backstretch, 180 miles an hour. Aerodynamic Ford Cobras, husky Corvette Stingrays, and elegant Ferrari GTOs. These, then, are the machines of Sebring. Cars with a top speed of 100 to 180 miles an hour, costing as little as a $2,000 British import to the over $100,000 experimental factory prototypes. All here for one purpose, to win.
To win means to drive farther in 12 hours than anyone else. The lightweight, high-powered sports racers and prototype speedsters are given the best chance for overall. And this year, American cars are prepared to challenge Ferrari's traditional dominance with the most formidable array of power and speed ever assembled. Ferrari's chief antagonist, Carroll Shelby, has a brace of the beautiful Ford GTs and a stable of his newly styled Ford Cobras. And international star Dan Gurney will be running under the Shelby banner in the sports racing category with his own design Lotus 19.
We're going to be pushing it pretty hard, I think. In other words, we're not sure just how fast it will go. We are running a spare engine here. We don't have our best shot, and we're going to have to push it pretty hard to turn a respectable time.
What other cars in the race are you primarily concerned with?
Well, the Chaparrals.
away favorite, if they last, are the Jim Hall designed Chaparrals. Hall won the American Road Racing Championship last year in his plastic-bodied automatic transmission Chaparral. His practice time is a good 9 seconds, under the all-time record. But Hall has never subjected his lightweight Chevy-powered innovations to an endurance test before. Hall's strategy?
Well, if we intend to run with whoever's leading it, unless it's us, and we're gonna take off. So that's the plan of the race.
Who do you think your competition's going to come from?
Well, it'll come from, of course, over the long haul, it'll come from Ferrari probably, but the Ford GTs and Dan Gurney probably run pretty strong for a while.
Jim, people inside the sport feel that a sports car can't go 12 hours here. As a builder of this Chaparral, what are your views on that opinion?
Well, it's a long race, Chris. We've never tried to run the cars this distance before, but I think they're going to do it.
Whether they can do it is the key question. The sports car's power to weight advantage is balanced on the other side by their unproven reliability in endurance races, and everyone's basing strategy on that factor. Ford GT and Cobra boss Carroll Shelby.
We're going to keep the opposition humping, and we feel that by doing this that we have as good or better chance to finish than any of the other cars. The Chaparrals won't go flat out. They'll try to go as slow as they can. They'll just go fast enough to keep them going at what we hope will be a braking pace for them. The Ford GTs will probably be running fairly closely behind them, and all we're doing with the Cobras is trying to stay ahead of the other GT cars so that we get the World's Championship points.
The factory Ferrari team has boycotted the race. Enzo Ferrari, whose cars have dominated the International Road Racing Championships and won here the last 4 years, officially withdrew when the very fast sports cars were admitted. Nevertheless, there are 8 prototype Ferraris and 1 GT entered by private owners, and a full contingent of factory mechanics to care for them. International stars Pedro Rodriguez and Graham Hill are driving a 4-liter prototype, one of the most promising. But Hill, too, is aware of the sports car issue.
We're not competitive with them. I think the only chance we have is, of course, to try and last out. It might be possible that we will last the race and they might be a little more fragile than us, being somewhat lighter, and with any luck, they might all break down.
While the big iron pilots speculate on strategy to whip the Chaparrals, lesser-powered GT drivers are concerned about their competition and prospects for victory. Joe Buzetta, Porsche 904, Class 10.
We want to finish and try to keep the revs down as low as possible. As far as the other competition in the race is concerned, of course, we're always worried about the other Porsches. However, the Fiat A-Boss, particularly the 2-liter, have proven very fast so far, and we're a little concerned about them. And, of course, the Alphas are always a threat because they usually seem to be in there finishing.
The 4-car Alfa Romeo team is headed by Italian champ Roberto Buzzanello.
What is his plan in the race?
Cosa intende fare durante le corse? Durante questa corsa in particolare di condurre la macchina alla fine.
He said he wants to take the car at the end of the race.
E di vincere la classe.
To finish the race and win in his class.
Who does he see as his competition in class?
Quali sono le macchine nella sua stessa categoria?
La Lotus Elan, il Porsche Carrera e la Volvo.
I think to hear what he said.
Yeah, I think so. The Porsche, the Lotus, and the Volvo is his competition.
In the important Grand Touring Division 1 contest, a brace of MG midgets have been impressive in practice. And Triumph has a trio of its new Spitfires. There are class victories in the prototype category, too. Paddy Hopkirk, Austin Healey Sprite.
Well, we're here to try and win our class, which is the prototype class from 1,000 to 1,300 cc, and if we can do that, we'll be very happy.
But how do you go about doing that? Are you going to take it real easy?
Oh, no. We've got to go like hell, more or less, and let's hope everything holds together.
In the heavyweight category, Shelby's sleek Cobras dominate. A single Ferrari is his only challenge to a clean sweep of GT Division 3 and the important World Championship points. A record crowd converges. The anticipated American challenge to Ferrari, the exciting inter-class struggles, the sheer excitement of Sebring has drawn more than 60,000 fans under sunny skies. The pressure builds. Ford GT pilot Richie Ginther enjoys a moment of peace and contemplation on the starting line.
As race time draws near, the drivers are all lined up opposite their cars for the traditional Le Mans start. runs right into number 12 Cobra. And number 16 Cobra can't get started. Tough break for the Fords. Under MG Bridge, and Gurney on the inside makes his move. He takes third from number 4 Chaparral. Coming up to the hairpin, Gurney charges Hall in number 3 Chaparral. But Hall holds second with number 22 Lola Ford in the lead. The Volvo that crunched the Cobra is still running, but it won't be for long. Well, let's take off a wheel and look at the suspension. Bad luck for Richie Ginther. He's in the pits with handling problems. Down the back straightaway, Gurney challenges Hall for the lead. And takes it. GT gets out as the leaders begin to lap the slower cars. The Fords are now up to full strength. But storm clouds pose new questions as the leaders pull away from the field. This is what Sebring looks like to Dan Gurney. All he sees is 5.2 miles of flat road as it twists and turns through the S's and straightens out for the approach to the hairpin. This is a 260-degree turn. It's back off, clutch, downshift, brake, clutch, upshift, and gun it for the warehouse straight heading for Webster Turn. There are 8 right turns, 4 left turns, and the S's to wrestle with on every lap. There'll be more than 200 laps. Onto the back straight, and Hall passes to take the lead away from Gurney. But there are 11 hours to go. Into the race, with Gurney still in hot pursuit of Hall. The first scheduled pit stops begin, and some stops are routine. Some are not. Heat is beginning to burn up cars and drivers. The man gets relief, but not the machine. While drivers work 2-hour shifts, the cars, with precautionary stops for tires and fuel, run all 12 hours, if they last. This old airport may look flat, but to these stiff-sprung cars, it's a washboard. If it weren't for seat belts and shoulder harness, drivers would have to hang onto the wheel just to stay in the seat. Dan Gurney makes his scheduled stop. But there's some unscheduled trouble. His gauge shows no oil pressure. Is it the gauge or something more serious? There's one factor you can't compute in racing: luck. The GTs and Cobras are running smoothly. Miles takes his victorious Daytona car out in 4th place. Gurney is through with a broken oil line. His crew wheels the pace setter off as Hap Sharp, Jim Hall's co-driver and partner, wheels the Chaparral onto the track. Hall, just out of the car, shows the strain of 2 hours on the road. Bob Bondurant has had a chance to relax. And the spectators, they find the road own diversions as hour after hour of the race rolls on. At the halfway mark, tired muscles and jangled nerves begin to take their toll. A spectacular barrel roll flip. But safety equipment and harness protected the driver from injury. The Chaparral has stretched its lead to an incredible 40 miles. But that enormous advantage may only be as good as the weather. With black rain clouds moving in, only the closed cars may be able to finish the race. The open cockpit sports cars should swamp. Carroll Shelby, with 1 GT and 4 Cobras running strong, is delighted at the prospect. With a little help from the elements, he may catch the lead Chaparral. The magic hour, 6 o'clock, and it may be a new race. The crowd covers up, and here comes the deluge. The track is awash. Cars look more like speedboats as they plow through the submerged race course. The Chaparrals are slowed, but they keep on plugging. How can they do it with their carburetors vented straight up? An old Cobra swamps, and so do the open cockpit Ferraris. The closed GTs, Ferraris, Porsches, and Fords begin to close in on the Chaparral, cutting the lead in half. Number 4 Chaparral spins, coming out of the Webster turn, but the rain subsides from a deluge to a downpour. Number 3 Chaparral, with Sharp at the wheel, picks up the pace. Hall hoped for less rain, Shelby for more. With a 20-mile lead, Sharp turns the car over to Hall for the final 2-hour shift. But the rain starts up again. There's still a chance if the Chaparrals slow down and the GTs and Cobras step on it. Sebring is the World Series of U.S. sports car racing with 3 major classes of cars: Sports Unlimited, Grand Touring Prototype, and Grand Touring. Although everyone wants to be first overall, all class victories are equally important. The Ford GT is leading the Grand Touring Prototype class, and the Cobras are leading the Grand Touring cars. The Chaparral is leading the Sports Unlimited class. With 1 hour to go, the course is totally submerged. If you don't have lights, you stay with someone who has. In these last minutes and last laps, the challenge that is Sebring begins to show on men and machines. Many cars are entered with the knowledge that after this 12-hour go, they will have to be written off. The prize money is small, but the test, supreme. If you have any opinion of yourself or your equipment, Sebring is the place to test it. A few seconds to 10 o'clock. Everyone waits tensely. Suddenly, the 12-hour Sebring Grand Prix of Endurance is over. The Chaparral roars out of the darkness and wet to claim victory for America. Cobra is first in the Grand Touring class. Number 11 Ford GT is first in the Grand Touring Prototype class. American entries took top honors in all three major classes. Where Europe once ruled the road, America now leads the way.